Hello people of the world and welcome to today's episode of Coffee Chats with Jax. For today's episode I want to talk to you guys about something that I have been feeling very passionate about lately because many reasons. I want to talk to you guys today about free will and free choice and the fact that we were created to make our own decisions and we were created with the freedom to choose what we want to choose, and I think that is a really special an intentional thing, and I think that God knew what he was doing when he gave us that free will and free choice. Basically, I have this friend and she has this guy in her life that's been in her life for a while, but now he is kind of in a way trying to force her to love him. And she is needing some space and she is needing some time away, but this guy is just like freaking out because he's losing control over her because she's not doing what he wants her to do. So now he's yelling at her and demanding her to love him and demanding her to be back in his life and not really giving her any sort of a choice. I guess using like a fear tactic, like threatening her if she doesn't come back into his life and love him and be with him. And it's making me really mad because this guy is a total jerk, for one, but for two, it doesn't really make sense because if you think about it from the guy's perspective, why would you want someone to love you because you're forcing them to? Why would you want someone to be in your life if they don't even have a choice? That doesn't sound like real love to me. Like say I had a boyfriend and he had to be my boyfriend no matter what, like an arranged marriage type deal, and like there was no choice in it whatsoever. Like maybe he was threatened or he was scared, but he had to be my boyfriend. That doesn't feel good. Like I want someone to be my boyfriend because they would choose me. I want someone to be my friend because they choose me. Like that's what's so beautiful about friendship and community, I think, because it's kind of like the family that we get to choose. But this guy that's been yelling at my friend, I don't understand. And so while I've been walking my friend through this problem, it kind of reminded me of just our free will in general. It's kind of like if we don't have the freedom to say no, then we don't have the freedom to say yes. And it's kind of the way that God created it on purpose, because that's why he doesn't force us to love him. He gives us the choice to love him. He gets to pursue us and love us, but not once does he force us, say, hey, you have to love me or else. That's why fear tactics don't work. That's why you can't scare someone into being a Christian. You can't scare someone into loving Jesus because it just doesn't work that way. I'm so thankful that God is not a tyrant God yelling at us to love him. It's just not the way that it works. That's not what love is. Love is beautiful. Love is kind. Love is eternal. Like God is love, right? And God is forever. He didn't have a beginning, and that's hard for us to understand. It just doesn't make sense in our heads. I can't explain it. I can't understand it. But if God is eternal, that means love is eternal because God is love. Love is the number one thing in the world. That's why we're, as a people, obsessed with love. If you want to sell a good book, write a love story. If you want to make a good film, make a love story. Again, if you want to write a hit song, probably going to be about love. But love's beautiful because it's not forced. Love is chosen. That's why when you're in a marriage, a wife and a husband have to choose to love each other. They're not forced to love each other. That's what makes it feel real, and God knew that. God created it that way intentionally. He knew what he was doing when he gave us the freedom to love him. He's God, you guys. Don't you think if he wanted to, he could force us to love him? He could force everyone in the world to love him. But that's not right. Love is when we get to choose. You guys, I think that we overcomplicate a lot of things about life when it comes to getting to choose and whatnot. The beautiful thing about God giving us the freedom of choice is that we get the freedom of choice. I think there's a lot of people that overcomplicate that by being like, well, I don't want to do this because is that God's will for my life, or is this God's will for my life, or am I going to eat this tomato because I don't know if it's God's will for my life? Like things like that. I know that God speaks to us. I am 100% in belief of that. And I know that God has a will for our life. But I think that we make it so complicated into each tiny little decision that we make when it's like God's will for our life is pretty simple. It's actually to love God and love people. That's it. It's in the Bible. It's biblical. We over spiritualize it sometimes, I think. And I'm not really sure why. I, in the past, have over-spiritualized things to overcompensate because I wanted to be seen as more spiritual than I actually was because I thought I had to be to get people to like me. And that was wrong. And I know that there's a handful of people that I've been around that do that same thing, and it's just not, it's not right. Are you loving people? Are you loving God? Are you living a life that shows that? I am fully in belief that if we're doing something God doesn't want us to do, He's gonna make it real clear. I don't think we have to be scared to do this or do that because maybe it's not God's will. In the garden, when Adam and Eve were there were a lot of yeses, and there was only one no. they can eat from whatever they want except for one tree. That's been on my heart and that's what I want to share with you. But before I go, I want you to know that I am writing a book right now and I'm so excited. It's a memoir of my life, and I was just telling my friend, roommate, little big sister Taylor that I'm so excited about this book because I've been reading through my old journals in order to write it, because it's like a memoir of my life. And I'm reading about how I used to be so insecure. I used to struggle with insecurities and hated myself, shame, all that stuff. And like, yes, I'm not like all fixed and better now. I'm not trying to say that, but like a year ago, even like 3 months ago, I used to be just not who I am now. And it's really fun writing this book because I get to go back and reflect on that and see that and be like, but look what happened now. Like, it gives hope. It gives hope to me, and I hope it gives hope to you guys too. So you guys, if you want to get a sneak peek at my book, go join my Patreon page. You can click that box up there for the link to my Patreon page, or the link is going to be in the description box below. I'm really excited and I can't wait to share it with you guys. If you click those links for my Patreon, you also will get to be a part of my ministry, and you'll get to support me in that and just get exclusive things. I love you guys. I hope you have a really great rest of your week and a very, very Merry Christmas. Okay, love you.